Divine Crystar family, welcome. This is a video clip that's taken as a segment from our July Q&A. And this one I thought was a really important question that came through. In this one, we're discussing Metatron. Metatron as a collective, Metatron as a dust cloud, Metatron in the connection to the lunar frequencies on the planet, the moon, its position, and how it is influencing the consciousness streams of humanity. We're going to look at a few different ways that this artificial intelligence has really been using its own kind of agenda to play our own unprocessed pains back into our subconscious fields, and that this is part of the drama that we're living out here on planet Earth. So let's explore a little bit in this question in this clip that I thought was really good that came through from our July Q&A. And also just want to invite you, if you'd ever like to join in live to any of these are open, these are free to join. I do them the first Sunday of every month. Just click in the description below if you want to get the link, find out more. I'd love to see you at our next event. I want to finish with Metatron because this is actually going to be the key for everything for us. Now, within the plasma energy, as I started to really play with this and really kind of dive in through the vibrations of Elisa, the guardians nudged me to revisit Robert Temple's, kind of his conversations within there. And I have not read the entire book, but I got what they wanted me. They led me to exactly what they wanted me to see within there. He talks about these plasma dust clouds and that they are highly intelligent, that they influence the planetary systems and the consciousness streams of the species and the beings that are on the planets that they are near. So within this, he goes into this research that he had done where that there is multiple kind of like just really old texts and writings, specifically within Hebrew and within the Jewish texts, and that there is kind of like way back when there was different even kind of groups within the Jewish texts that didn't even get along with each other, and there was one that had written within there, and we're going to tie this in to even Moses and the concept of the burning bush. That within there is an awareness that there was a cloud, and this cloud existed in a stationary place. So there is these two massive plasma dust clouds that have been identified recently that exist between the Earth and the Moon. And they are within a particular trajectory that is in what is known as just like a null zone, or a zone of no movement. Like nothing, like it's just a vacuum in that space. Nothing influences within this just radius of where they are. And so therefore nothing moves them. They just stay kind of stationary within this place. And there they collect and they can get bigger. And I think they're called like L3 and L4, something strange like that. And within here, that these particular beings, his theory is that they have a super consciousness to them. He then goes on to talk about going into these texts and that he finally found this obscure passageway. Now, we want to recognize that Metatron is a term that came out of a lot of the Jewish texts and the Gnostic text. It was held in there. It's something that's referred to in a lot of their teachings and these kinds of things. And so there was an awareness to this, and they call it the Archangel Metatron and these types of things. But within this very obscure text, there was a reference to a field that Metatron actually exists in a field of energy in a stationary place as a cloud between the Earth and the Moon. And all the light bulbs went off. And let me see if I can put this together in the correct way for you. So let's understand that within this all the cosmos, say within the source of all that is, the Effie, before anything is manifest and create into form, it would just be plasma. It would just be the energy. It would just be the consciousness. But then as the consciousness starts to actualize itself, then it starts to form into what we might think of as now objects within the field, but that are still completely created of the plasma field. So a sun, a star, a solar system, a constellation, an organization. A constellation is just an organization of consciousness. And as it starts to create, is each of these collected plasma consciousness streams starts to now hold stations within the plasma fields, and now starts to have an organization of moving energy within itself. 12 tree grid of life, all the different planets in there. This is what starts to answer, why is Earth going to be connected to the other planets in the way that they are? Sirius B, Alpha Centauri, Procyon, Mintaka, Alnitak, Merak in Andromeda, Lyra. We have Vega within there. All of these are in, Arcturus. All of these are in the 12 tree grid of life. But if you look at them in correlation to the constellation, they don't fit together. They don't have any harmonic in any way. You can't look at them and go like, oh, here's where I connect the dots. It's because they're connected through an energetic, through these entanglements, if you will, through a network within this plasma field. And so they have harmonic resonances to them that actually have, think of it as light filament passageways between them, those channels that you see in the 12 tree grid of life, these harmonics that move between them, that hold them in these patterns with each other, that hold this larger structure. And as creation steps down more and more, we would see these organizational structures start to move down into what you would think of as solar systems, and then organizational structures moving down into the planetary ecosystems that move, say, here on planet Earth. Now, within this, when everything is flowing in an organic structure, everything is going to move within the eternal Trinity breath. That means there wouldn't be any stagnant clouds of plasma dust in creation building up anywhere. But when something gets created out of the organic system of Mother, it doesn't have any way to exhale or expel whatever is building up within their system. And so it just keeps collecting. They start to implode on themselves unless they can find something to feed off of. So within the idea and the concept of Metatron has gone into a full fall within this 15-dimensional thought time matrix. And within this, now it is basically a space dust cloud within the system that is self-organized and absolutely intelligent. And this is where I feel why the moon is placed where it was. Because we know the moon is not originally organic to this Earth system, first of all. And we also know that all of this system is actually a fall that has come from Tara, that has come from Orion, which is where Metatron has said to have originated from the belt of Orion, or that eighth council spot within there. That the fall kind of happened as he emerged as a god seed from the monad there. And when that fell, that fall actually moved in now to the lower densities and is holding station here. Now we can think of see Earth differently now. Here we are in a solar system, but in this solar system, all the planets are meant to have these plasma harmonics with each other that are resonating with each other. But there is levels of individuals that have the technology and the ability to actually take a moon and place it in a very strategic place that has now created a dead zone between the Earth and the moon, where this Metatron collective sits. And this Metatron collective now sits and dictates in and has the ability. So we know even within that obscure Jewish text, and if I dug in, he probably says the name of it in his book. I just can't remember it. There is the absolute within there that they said it was without a doubt Metatron that descended down and spoke to Moses. And everyone knows that when we think of it as a burning bush, that the burning bush is a different translation. And in the original translations, it was just a ball of light. So as we look at this, let's start to break this down, because this is something I really feel like I need graphs and pictures and things. I want you to think of, again, all the cosmos, and then we have these falls that happened from the third harmonic universe, the Orion Lyran Wars, this massive cataclysm that basically started to create breakaways. We know that those wars were said to be like massive space storm wars. We know that. We've heard that multiple times. The wars that even go as spoken of, the wars of the Titans, were said to be these wars that were wars of like these space storms, like lightning storms, thunderstorms, but space storms, right? So now we get to see these plasma fields of consciousness having massive battles of creation. They have within them, obviously, collectives that go into fall, breakaway, that then become self-organizing as a rulership or a godhead, that then moves into holding station within. Let me now map this. If you can imagine, Metatron's collective cloud is holding a stationary energy that is said to be like 18 times, I'm just going to say 18, it might be bigger than this, times bigger than the size of the Earth. It's huge. And it's stationary, it doesn't move anywhere, and it's been there. Well, if the moon was placed within this position, and we know the moon is actually one of the soul recycling and capturing places. It's the place that is projecting onto our subconscious field. It's the place that is programming humanity. And we have there utilizing it as kind of like a storage, this Metatronic collective, which we know from our seals and implants clearing course, the Metatronic I and collective is the top pinnacle of the 12th dimensional clearing sphere. Then we know that this is the primary collective field that is controlling this system. And as it's stationed there, it has the ability to move in through its collectives, through beings, through angelics, through these types of things into the field, and to directly influence humanity, primarily through religions, teachings, and all of these things. But it has the absolute connection to everything lunar based or in our subconscious. So this is why most programs of tyranny, of control, of limitations all exist within the fourth dimension or the astral realm, because this is where it exists. Now, these plasma cloud fields, I feel also what they're doing is they're recording our memories, our deep subconscious, our thoughts, our fears, our insecurities, anything we've played the victim victimizer with. They are taking all of the records of all of our pains and sorrows, and then they utilize those as the very shadows, the boogeymans, and the monsters against us. So they are literally a collective of us being reflected back as something that we're afraid of. They have taken every single aspect of the CDT plates, our true Christic geometry of creation, and found some way to distort it.